I just took a girl out to dinner, paid for the food and ride home, for her to tell me she had a boyfriend. What have you done for a potential partner that has been a complete waste of time? When I was in college there was this beautiful girl I had a huge crush on. Shy nerd that I started courting her in the most ridiculous old-fashioned way imaginable. Writing poems, phoning endlessly, all the yazoo you can think of. We went out 3 times. I really thought I got a shot. Then she invited me to her birthday party. I do not enjoy big social gatherings, especially when the host is the only person I know. But, well, I was in love with this woman, so I went. When I arrived there was this jock type guy with his arm around her, and when she introduced me to him, all innocent, he told me that he was her boyfriend and that he had been there all the times we had spent on the phone, and that she also had shown him my poems. That's horrible. Met a girl last year as an orientation leader for my university. I totally fell for this girl. We went on a few dates, everything was going well, even kissed a few times. She said she didn't want anything to be Facebook official yet because she had recently broken up with an ex. For me, I thought nothing of that. After 3 months of this I explained to her the depth of my feelings for her. I didn't say the L word, but man, I was close. She just looked at me and said, "But you are like a brother to me." I responded with, "So you would make out with your brother?" Then I walked out of my own dorm room. TLDR. Dated a girl for 3 months. Fell hard. She says I'm like her brother. LOL. Walking out of your own dorm room. Freaking epic. She might have made up the boyfriend, then strategically dropped the bomb because she didn't want your hands on her body. Whoa, I've had this exact same situation, with the added bonus of us having hooked up the weekend before that. She waited until after we had sex and after I took her on a date and out for drinks to let me know that she had a boyfriend. To top things off, she had me drop her off at her boyfriend's place. On the plus side, totally dodged a bullet. At least you got off easy. Had a buddy of mine who had sex with a girl at a party who ended up having a boyfriend. The boyfriend ends up finding out and she starts texting my buddy to say that he raped her so she can give that excuse to the guy. The guy blocked her and has not spoken to her since. The boyfriend, though, I hear is still with her. Paid for parking so I could have dinner with an air hostess I had been chatting to. She didn't turn up. £1 that parking cost me. Frick's sake. I got a call to fix this woman's sink one time, so I head over there with all my tools, and she keeps trying to take my clothes off and have sex with me. What the heck? Lady, I'm just here to do a job. Never would have happened if you'd done the simple once over pre-date. 1. Check teeth and hooves. 2. Standard swab for STDs and blood test. 3. Weigh her and gauge strength and durability. 3. Inquire about marital status and proclivity towards sexual debauchery. It hasn't worked for me yet, but I have time. I'm laughing because this sounds like my GF. She never attracted guys' attention as a kid and now she is unable to distinguish when a guy is interested in her. Last weekend she went out with a guy to an expensive wine bar and then they watched a movie at his place, alone. He didn't make a move and she thought she had made a new friend. Unfortunately I do this all the time. I was always the butchy tomboy who had all guy friends. And after college I blossomed and apparently men now find me attractive and I always think I'm making new friends. They all think they went on a date with an awesome girl who even offered to split the bill. I feel like an idiot every time. Years ago, I had a boyfriend move in with me, claiming putting gas in his car to come visit me was getting too expensive. It wasn't a decision we made together. He just sort of started moving things and never left. He wasn't working at the time, but looking in the area where I lived, so I ended up paying his car payment, car insurance, and giving him spending money for a few months. I finally made him sign a promissory note for all the money he owed me. I was 20 and working a minimum wage, like $5.25 an hour at the time, social services job. One night, he got upset and started crying and asked me to tear up the note because it showed that I didn't trust him. I gave in. I finally helped him find a part-time gig coaching soccer at the local high school and working for the company where I was employed. He thanked me for loaning him around $2,000 and giving him a place to live by banging some of the female high school students. I think he paid me back around $40. Took a girl on a date one time. Noticed she was acting odd around our waitress. After a couple of questions, it turns out she was banging the waitress's BF on the side. I promptly stepped out for a smoke. Don't smoke. Secretly paid my tab and on the tip left 40% for the waitress and that's your BF's frick buddy at my table and walked off with the powder keg lit. Looking back on it, that wasn't a total waste of time. Married her, had a kid, fed, clothed, and took care of her butt for 3 years, only for her to spend all the money on dumb crap, cheat on me, and generally not appreciate anything. Biggest waste of time ever. I'm guessing you created your Reddit account after this ordeal. Yeah, she wasn't worth the time anyhow. If she's willing to do that behind her BF's back and falsely led you on, she's a terrible person. Find out who the boyfriend is and tell him. He shouldn't have to deal with this chick either, assuming that he is a good dude. Back in the day I was being friend-zoned. End of 7th grade. Cute girl wanted my Pokemon cards to borrow because she was going to some sort of summer camp and she wanted to show them off. Off she went with my entire collection of Pokemon cards for the entire summer. And I waited. The entire time I kept thinking to myself, yes, she will show my collection and I will have her once everyone tells her how awesome I am. All summer I waited. Planned our first real date. I was flying high all summer knowing my Japanese holographic Scyther would seal the deal for me. Nobody had this but me. As the first day of school came I had made sure to wear my nicest Jurassic Park t-shirt and prepared for my first kiss. She and I had the same class. First day as an 8th grader and already I would have a girlfriend. She approached me, happy and beautiful holding my Pokemon binder. She said, "Help me lose my fat. I have great news." I nearly jumped with joy. I met a boy at camp this summer. He really liked your Pokemon collection. I hope you don't mind that I gave him a lot of your cards. Me and him are such great friends. I can't wait for you to meet him. As I sat in class, my hopes and dreams crushed and broken. I looked through my Pokemon and assessed the damage done. My Scyther remained. She had taken a big part of me that day, a large part of my heart, but the Scyther remained. A girl I liked called me up from college crying that she was homesick and needed a ride home for the weekend. I drove 3 hours each way to bring her back home. Then she tells me just drop me off at my boyfriend's house. The ugly truth is that she is probably seeking something better than her current boyfriend. You guys went on the date and she decided against you, so she just innocently said, "Oh, I have a boyfriend," to absolve herself of any guilt. She will do this until she meets someone she can latch onto and leave the poor guy she's with now. You aren't the only one getting screwed over in this scenario, unfortunately. That is probably the best way to approach it with her boyfriend. I went out with a girl last week. I paid for her meal and everything. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but at the end of the date she mentioned that you were her boyfriend. I just thought you should know what your girlfriend is up to before she finds someone she really likes. Drew her a cartoon book to cheer her up, helped her move between cities, slept on a wooden floor, only to watch her make out with another guy, also got mugged on the way back. Draw a cartoon book about that. Had a few glasses of wine now, so excuse the ranty rant. There's something really fricked up about American dating culture. Even the phrase date winds me up. It just serves to put a wedge of resentment and anger between people. Where I come from, Wales, you start out as friends. If I thought a boy was nice, that is, I liked his personality, I'd say, "Oh, do you want to come out for a drink on Friday?" The idea of sex wouldn't even cross my mind. Then we go and hang out as friends and have fun. If there's ever a suspicion that someone might take it the wrong way, then I'd say, "There's a couple of us going out on Friday, do you want to come?" It matters not whether someone is physically attractive or not to you, because if you're in a relationship or they're not attractive, then you make that transparent from the start. Lose nothing and, hopefully, gain a friend. I'd be anxious if some random man asked me for a date, because what the heck does that mean? It appears that it means, "Hey, let me buy you stuff and then you have to shag me." Yeah. Plus, American girls, do you not ever get offended when a man who doesn't know you asks you on a date? Because you know, he is basing everything on what you look like physically, which is pretty offensive. I really don't understand it. I also don't understand why women allow men to pay for expensive dates. If you're in America, then I expect that you start with the understanding that dinner, expensive gifts, flour are a potential exchange for sex. So why allow someone to pay for that crap if you're then not going to be up for it? It's demeaning, it's dishonest, and it's just as mean and tawdry as the man who's trying to buy your body. Some time ago a girl at work was regaling me with stories about her dates which she found on a dating site. She was a serial dater and it was the most tragic thing I've ever heard. Let a man take you out, mark him on his looks and how much money he spends, act like you're doing him a huge favor by talking to him, and then get resentful when he doesn't want to see you again. Villa surprise. This crap never wound me up before because hey, it's America and frick all to do with me. However, now I'm working with a load of Americans and it occurs to me I can never have an American friend who is male or even have a conversation in the canteen for longer than 30 minutes without someone else, usually another American, commenting, "It's horrid." I don't think you should pay 100% for a girl on the first date. Split the bill. Paying all for her nowadays seems a bit suggestive and makes girls feel like they owe you one. This is why I think paying for the first date is stupid. The girl doesn't need to like you because you're economically viable. You can prove that by simply paying for your own meal. Gifts come later in the relationship. I may actually have you beat. OP. Twice I have gone on dates where the woman says between bites of dinner, "So, my boyfriend in Iraq." So, I just blew money on some hoe bag who is trying to cheat on her man who, at that very moment, is putting his life on the line for our country. First and second dates should never be anything that cost money. They should be a walk in the park, some free event, anything that is free or very inexpensive. Only when you feel she likes you for more than just what you can buy her should you start paying for dates like dinner or drinks out. Man, all these threads do is depress me. Initially it seems like it wouldn't be that hard to just ask out a girl you like and see where it goes. But no, there's all this mucky muck, all these rules, preparations to make, do's and don'ts. This is too cowardly, that's too aggressive, and on and on and on. Just makes me want to crawl back in my shell and stay there. I had a girl lead me on once. I took her to lunch a few times, we laughed. I went to her house unannounced for some silly lover boy reason like to drop off chocolate or something and discovered she had live-in significant other, who was also a girl. Obligatory threesome comment. I did the same thing with a girl, except repeatedly. Took her out on regular dates for months. Never ever mentioned a boyfriend to me. We had great conversation and chemistry. Danced regularly at parties. Mutual political views, musical interests and atheism. We studied together. Had the same major and many classes together. Cycled together. Talked every day. Had an obvious sexual tension as well. Really thought we had something good going when we finally went back to her place one night and she wanted me to stay for a while. I remember being so stoked walking in, then the awkward moment, for us both, when I noticed that there were pictures of her and her boyfriend everywhere. Literally dozens and dozens of framed shots of her and him kissing, cuddling, framed love notes, the works. Sure explained why we always watched movies at my place. He went to school somewhere else, I guess. Calendar on the wall had many Skype dates noted. Rousing me from my stupor, she simply hands me a movie we had talked about in passing earlier that night and sent me home. I never took her out again or hung out much after that, but I did return her movie and it was just as good as she described. I won't even get into the story on my ex-fiance. Way worse. For me, if I was so-called dating a girl for months and we hadn't kissed yet, it's freaking obvious that you are not dating. I don't get why all these dudes think they are dating chicks when you don't even kiss or hold hands. Get a clue, fellas. The correct response when she said that was, pause. Wow, I'm really surprised you would go on a date when you have a boyfriend. I would never do that to someone I was dating. I feel sorry for your boyfriend, but I'm glad you won't have the opportunity to do the same thing to me. Goodbye. If she has a boyfriend, you probably just made her rethink how he's going to feel when he finds out. If she doesn't and was just playing you, then you just crushed her self-esteem by basically saying you don't want to be with people like her at all. Either way, you push it back on her. Back in my single days, I went out with this girl about 3 times. Being a gentleman, I always paid. During the 4th dinner, she confesses she has a boyfriend. I say no problem. She says she's cheated before and feels bad but likes me. I ordered food and drinks. We eat. I tell her we should split a dessert. She agrees. I excuse myself to go to the bathroom. I leave the restaurant and leave her there. Thanks for the free dinner. I realize I paid for 3 previous dinners, but I felt like a freaking champion on the way home. BTW. I was also her ride. You goddamn pimp. My friend GF is this way. Probably why they are going out in the first place, and will say yes to anything a guy asks her. Most times it's because she loves the attention and free crap that people give to her. The best I've heard from her situation was that a guy on a bus asked her out on a dinner date. Free dinner. Next week it was free concert tickets and then lunch all the time, etc. And now it's, I'm not calling you because I have a real girlfriend. Most times it's because she loves the attention and free crap that people give to her. All due respect, but this girl sounds like a gold digging bee. Some girls are B. When I go on dates, men always insist on paying. If at the end of the date if I know I am not interested, then I'll let them know I would like to pay my share. I don't feel they need to pay for me if I already know it's not going anywhere after our first meeting. If you took her out to an expensive dinner date as the first date, then you deserved this. Consider this an expensive lesson for you. Next time, take her out for cheap coffee, don't pay for hers, and figure out if she's single or not. I know females who kindly don't accept gifts and gestures if it would even slightly give the wrong impression. They are out there, just saying. Careful here, OP. This woman knows what she is doing. My suspicion is she wants her BF to know. Makes him jealous and appreciate that another guy is interested in his woman. I say, just let it die. You failed the moment you tried to impress her. Don't buy your way or suck up to girls. Make a girl feel special. Make her look at you like an interesting challenge or enigma. Mystery is an aphrodisiac. Don't make the mistake of treating a good-looking girl like every other man she deals with. Most good-looking girls have their asses kissed daily by the vast majority of men they interact with. Don't be a doormat, be the door. You're evaluating her to see if you like her enough to be around her. You're not trying to impress anybody. Had to sign up just post here for this. Went on a date last weekend. She was a serial dater. She said the moment I walked in she wasn't interested in me, however took me to mini golfing. I paid, and then to a farmer's market and shared a drink with me. How romantic. And asked me if I had to leave so soon. Afterwards she left, and when I texted her she said I was some of 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 she. Keep in mind I drove 1.5h each way to visit her. She dates about 3x a week, I find out. She said it was her way of getting out of the date by saying, do you have to go soon? I told her next time tell me straight up and don't waste my time, I am not looking for more friends. Deleted her contact. She said the moment I walked in she wasn't interested in me, more words. I told her next time tell me straight up and don't waste my time, I am not looking for more friends. What? I know a girl who does the exact same, except it's usually when she's single. She will take up any offer that gives her something free, with no intent of dating anyone, and just keep going from guy to guy to get a bunch of free meals and crap. Went on a blind date with a really cute girl. Friend worked with her. Date went well, and after we finished everything I had planned she said she'd like to keep doing things. So we went and got ice cream, mini golf, and some other places in addition to everything else. She just kept dragging it out. Good sign. Right. Come a few days later she doesn't return any calls or texts for a good 2 weeks. I asked the friend who set me up what was going on. He said he didn't know because he had never actually met her and just saw her once or twice before he set us up. He asked around and she was notorious for going on lots of dates. As I said, really cute, and pretty much playing the guys for a date or two then giving them the cold shoulder. TL. DR. Blind date who makes dates go longer than disappears. I laid out a complete plan for a friend to court this girl. I'm talking getting him to read up Henry David Thoreau, taking her to a museum I knew she'd love, and she tells him she has a boyfriend at the end of the date. I once took out a Houston Texans cheerleader to dinner and for what she dubbed adult slushies. We hit it off pretty well and then I found out she's married, with a child, and her husband is a serviceman. Put a halt to that crap quick. Got into a physical fight with 3 other men to stop them harassing her, then wasn't allowed into McDonald's because of a bloody nose I had. She wouldn't even get me a small freaking Coke. I met this cool girl during my junior year of college who lived in the same apartment building as me. As it turns out, we had a lot of things in common and ended up going out on a date later that same evening. On said date, she mentions how she has this math problem set that is really giving her a lot of trouble. She was in the math class I had passed rather easily last semester, so I volunteered to help her out with it. Anyway, she kept insinuating throughout the rest of the evening that my help would be repaid with some sort of sexual favors. If so, I go home and stay up for hours longer than I thought I would have to doing this problem set that it turns out she hadn't even started. I gave it back to her the next day to turn in. She then decided it would be a good time to let me know that she had recently become a lesbian and therefore couldn't provide any of the previously implied favors. I got a bit angry, asked how a person makes that kind of decision overnight, and she decided not to talk to me anymore. The end. TLDR. Attractive girl implies I'll get sexual favors if I do a math problem set for her, but ends up claiming that she became a lesbian overnight after I give her back the finished work. First date should always be coffee during the day where you straighten things and see the person in real life versus pics if online dating. Lesson learned after interesting unique experiences. You should go post on her Facebook wall, had a nice date with you last night. Wish you would have told me you had a BFO. That's why you don't pay for things when you aren't dating someone. If you think giving money to someone, giving them a dinner, etc. is going to get them to like you, you are wrong. If they do not like you, and you think maybe if I pay they will, you are stupid and wrong. If someone cannot be an adult, pay for themselves, and figure out whether they want to date you or not, you should not be dating them. It is not chivalrous to pay for the girl every time you go out. It is selfish on her part and immature on both of yours to expect this. This will get downvoted by the women of Reddit because it's true, but the only time you should ever pay for her is if she also pays for you equally. Well, you brought this one up in yourself. Guys need to stop paying for girls' food and drinks, and girls need to stop expecting guys to do this. It is a disgraceful habit that has no place in a modern society. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.